The Secret Service radio crackled with panic while Rebecca Martinez adjusted her scope 300 yards away. Agent Thompson's voice cut through the static, sharp with desperation. "We've lost visual on Eagle Nest. Repeat, we've lost visual on the president's daughter." The graduation ceremony had turned into chaos when the first shot rang out from the university bell tower, sending dignified families diving behind folding chairs and flower arrangements. Rebecca remained motionless in her concealed position atop the library building, her rifle trained on shadows that shouldn't exist. Through her earpiece, she heard the frantic calls for Staff Sergeant Martinez, the sniper who was supposed to be providing overwatch. They didn't know she was listening. They didn't know she had been watching the real threat develop for the past 20 minutes while they focused on the obvious distraction. The bell tower shooter was exactly what he appeared to be, a diversion, while the real danger moved through the maintenance tunnels beneath the ceremony platform. Rebecca's crosshairs found the emergency exit where the true assassin would emerge, and she waited with the patience that had kept presidents alive for 3 tours of duty. Agent Thompson barked orders into his radio while scanning the ceremony grounds through binoculars. "Martinez should have checked in 30 minutes ago. Where the hell is our overwatch?" The president's daughter, Emily, crouched behind the podium with 2 agents forming a human shield around her graduation gown. Rebecca watched through her scope as Thompson deployed his team toward the bell tower, exactly as the real assassin had planned. The maintenance tunnel access hatch began to move, metal shifting against concrete in a pattern Rebecca had been tracking since before the ceremony started. She whispered in her throat, mic switching to the emergency channel. "Control, this is Falcon. I have eyes on primary threat. Eastern Access Tunnel." "Repeat, Eastern Access Tunnel." Static answered her. The communication jamming had started, which meant the real attack was 60 seconds out. Rebecca's finger found her trigger guard as she calculated wind speed and distance. The graduation crowd remained focused on the bell tower shooter, parents clutching programs while security forces rushed toward the obvious target. Emily would be in the crosshairs the moment that tunnel hatch opened fully. Rebecca had one shot to save the president's daughter before anyone realized Martinez had never actually gone missing. The tunnel hatch swung open, and Rebecca saw the rifle barrel emerge, aimed directly at Emily's position behind the podium. She exhaled halfway and squeezed the trigger. The crack of her rifle cut through the chaos like lightning, and the assassin dropped before he could fire a single shot. Thompson spun toward the sound, his binoculars searching frantically until he spotted the muzzle flash from the library building. "Martinez, how copy?" He radioed, his voice tight with disbelief. Rebecca keyed her mic as she maintained her overwatch position. "This is Staff Sergeant Martinez. Threat neutralized. I've been in position since 0530 hours." The radio went silent for 10 seconds that felt like minutes. "You've been there the whole time." Thompson's voice cracked with a mixture of relief and confusion. "Affirmative control. Someone had to watch the angles you couldn't see." Rebecca swept her scope across the ceremony grounds, checking for additional threats while agents rushed toward the tunnel entrance. The president's daughter was safe. The real assassin was down, and suddenly everyone understood that Martinez hadn't gone missing at all. She had been exactly where she needed to be, watching over them while they searched for her in all the wrong places. Thompson stood over the dead assassin, while Rebecca maintained her position 300 yards away. The body wore university maintenance coveralls, but the rifle was military-grade with custom modifications. This wasn't some lone wolf attack. Agent Garcia's voice came through the restored communications. "We've got movement in the student center, possible secondary team." Rebecca adjusted her scope toward the concrete building, catching the glint of metal between windows. She counted at least 3 figures moving with tactical precision toward the ceremony's evacuation routes. They had planned for the primary attack to fail. Thompson coordinated the ground response, while Rebecca provided intelligence from her elevated position. "Control, I have visual on 3 additional hostiles. Student Center Level 2, moving to intercept evacuation routes. They're trying to funnel the targets into a kill zone. The president's daughter was being moved toward the very routes the secondary team had positioned themselves to cover. Rebecca realized the entire attack was a multi-layer trap, and she was the only one who could see the full picture from her vantage point. The real battle was just beginning, and once again, everyone would be depending on the sniper they thought had abandoned her post. Rebecca tracked the secondary team's movement, while Thompson evacuated Emily through what he thought was a secure corridor. She keyed her radio with urgency. "Control, abort current evacuation route. You're walking into an ambush. 3 shooters positioned at stairwell exits." Thompson hesitated for crucial seconds, processing the intelligence from the sniper who had already saved them once. Agent Garcia questioned the decision over comms. "How do we know Martinez's intel is accurate? She can't see everything from that position." Rebecca watched through her scope as the lead assassin raised his weapon toward the stairwell door, where Emily would emerge in 30 seconds. Without hesitation, she fired her second shot of the day. The hostile dropped, his rifle clattering down the concrete steps. Thompson's voice came through immediately. "Shot confirmed. Target down. Martinez, what's your read on the remaining 2? Rebecca was already shifting her aim toward the student center's upper level where the remaining shooters were repositioning. "They know I'm here now. They're moving to flank positions. Try to eliminate Overwatch before they engage your team." The tactical situation had evolved from protection to hunter versus hunted, and Rebecca realized she was now the primary target standing between the president's daughter and a coordinated assassination attempt. The remaining assassins split up, one moving toward Rebecca's building while the other maintained position to cover Emily's potential escape routes. Rebecca calculated her options while keeping her rifle trained on the student center. Thompson's team was pinned in the stairwell, unable to move without exposing Emily to the sniper in the concrete building. Agent Garcia reported over comms. "Martinez, we need you to neutralize the center shooter. We can't move until he's down." Rebecca knew the moment she fired, the assassin climbing toward her position would have her exact location. She would have maybe 30 seconds before he reached the rooftop access door. Through her scope, she watched the center sniper settle into position with a clear shot at the stairwell exit. Emily's life depended on Rebecca taking the shot, even if it meant compromising her own safety. She studied her breathing and found her target. The rifle kicked against her shoulder, and the center sniper tumbled from his perch. Immediately, Rebecca heard boots pounding up the stairwell behind her. She grabbed her sidearm and moved toward the roof access, knowing the final assassin was closing in on her position. The president's daughter was safe for now, but Rebecca's Overwatch advantage had just become a tactical liability that could get them all killed. Rebecca positioned herself behind the rooftop ventilation unit as the access door burst open. The assassin moved with professional precision, sweeping the roof with his rifle raised. She had abandoned her sniper rifle to maintain mobility, relying now on her sidearm and close-quarters combat training. The assassin called out in accented English, "You cannot hide forever, soldier. Your friends below depend on you." Rebecca used his voice to triangulate his position while Thompson's team waited for her all-clear signal. Without her Overwatch, they were vulnerable to additional threats she couldn't see from ground level. She rolled from cover and fired 3 rapid shots, forcing the assassin behind the elevator housing. He returned fire, concrete chips exploding near her position. This was exactly the kind of engagement she had trained for in Afghanistan, where snipers often had a transition from long-range precision to close combat survival. Rebecca flanked around the air conditioning units, using the rooftop infrastructure to close distance while staying below his line of sight. She could hear Thompson on the radio asking for her status, but she couldn't risk transmitting and revealing her position. The assassin was between her and her rifle, and Emily's protection depended on Rebecca eliminating this final threat. Using nothing but her combat instincts and service pistol, Rebecca caught movement reflected in the glass door of the rooftop access. As the assassin attempted to flank her position, she spun and fired, catching him in the shoulder and spinning him against the concrete ledge. His rifle clattered across the rooftop, but he drew a pistol with his offhand, still dangerous despite the wound. Blood ran down his arm as he steadied his aim toward the stairwell where Thompson's team remained trapped. From her position, Rebecca could see what the assassin could see. A clear shot at Emily if the team tried to evacuate. She had to end this now. Rebecca broke from cover in a tactical sprint, closing the distance while the wounded assassin tried to track her movement. She dove behind a ventilation duct as the shots sparked off metal, then immediately rolled out the other side, firing as she moved. Her training had taught her that wounded opponents were often more dangerous, fighting with the desperation of cornered animals. The assassin's shots went wide as blood loss affected his accuracy, but he kept firing toward the stairwell access, trying to complete his mission, even as Rebecca's bullets found their mark. He dropped to the rooftop gravel, his pistol sliding toward the ledge. Rebecca kicked the weapon away and keyed her radio, finally able to report the all-clear that would allow Thompson to move the president's daughter to safety. Rebecca returned to her sniper rifle and swept the entire ceremony grounds through her scope, ensuring no additional threats remained hidden in the chaos. Thompson's voice came through her earpiece with obvious relief. Martinez were moving Eagle Nest to the secure vehicle now. The president's daughter emerged from the stairwell surrounded by agents. Her graduation gown torn, but her life intact. Rebecca maintained overwatch as the protective detail moved across the open ground toward the armored limousine. She had eliminated 4 assassins and disrupted a coordinated attack that should have succeeded. But her job wasn't finished until Emily was safely away from the university. Through her scope, she noticed something the ground team had missed. A maintenance van parked too close to the evacuation route, engine running with no visible driver. The windows were tinted dark enough to conceal weapons or additional personnel. Rebecca radioed immediately. Control halt movement. Suspicious vehicle. Blue van. License plate. Delta 79er. Bravo. Possible 5th hostile. Thompson's team froze in formation while Rebecca kept her crosshairs on the van's passenger door. After 30 seconds, the door opened and a figure emerged with what looked like a rocket-propelled grenade. Rebecca didn't hesitate. Her shot shattered the van's windshield, and the figure collapsed before he could shoulder the weapon that would have destroyed the entire protective detail. Thompson reached Rebecca's position as she packed her rifle, his face showing a mixture of awe and gratitude that went beyond professional respect. Martinez, I've been doing this job for 15 years, and I've never seen anything like what you just accomplished. 5 threats neutralized, 0 friendly casualties, and you saved my entire team. Rebecca secured her equipment while scanning the grounds one final time through binoculars. Just doing my job, sir. That wasn't just doing your job. Agent Garcia interrupted as he climbed onto the rooftop. That was surgical precision under impossible conditions. You were tracking threats we couldn't even see. The president's daughter appeared at the rooftop access, flanked by 2 agents, but insisting on speaking with Rebecca personally. Staff Sergeant Martinez, I understand you saved my life today. Emily extended her hand with genuine warmth. My father is going to meet the soldier who kept his daughter alive during her college graduation. Rebecca accepted the handshake, noting how steady Emily's grip remained despite everything she had endured. Your daughter showed real courage under fire, ma'am. She followed instructions and trusted the process when it mattered most. Thompson shook his head in amazement as he surveyed the tactical situation Rebecca had managed single-handedly. The service will be recommending you for Nation. This kind of protective operation will be studied at Quantico for years. 3 days later, Rebecca stood in the Oval Office as President Harrison personally thanked her for saving his daughter's life. The Commander-in-Chief had reviewed the entire operation, including tactical recordings that showed her precision under pressure. Staff Sergeant Martinez, the Secret Service has recommended you for immediate transfer to our Presidential Protection Detail. Your skills are exactly what we need for high-threat scenarios. Rebecca maintained her military bearing while processing the offer that would change her entire career trajectory. Sir, I'm honored by the recommendation, but my current unit depends on my training capabilities. The president smiled and gestured toward a folder on his desk. Your commanding officer has already approved the transfer. He says, and I quote, Martinez is wasted anywhere except where she can save the most lives. Thompson entered the office with documentation that formalized Rebecca's new assignment to the elite protective unit that guarded America's highest officials. Agent Garcia had spent the previous day briefing headquarters on tactical innovations Rebecca had demonstrated during the university attack. The official citation read that Staff Sergeant Rebecca Martinez had single-handedly neutralized a coordinated assassination attempt through superior marksmanship, tactical awareness, and strategic positioning that exceeded all established protocols for protective operations. 6 months later, Rebecca Martinez had become a legend within the Secret Service, known as the sniper who saved the president's daughter and revolutionized protective protocols. New agents studied her tactical decisions at the university, learning how she had identified threats that traditional security measures missed. Thompson often told the story of how they had searched for Martinez while she was already in position, protecting them all from dangers they couldn't see. The president's daughter graduated law school under Rebecca's personal protection. The professional relationship built on mutual respect and shared experience under fire. Emily would often mention the soldier who had watched over her when death came calling, crediting Rebecca's vigilance with giving her the chance to pursue her dreams of public service. Rebecca's techniques were now standard training for protective details worldwide. Her ability to see the complete tactical picture becoming the new benchmark for elite security operations. She had transformed from a missing soldier into the guardian angel that every protection team wanted covering their operations. At the Secret Service Training Academy, instructors would end Rebecca's case study with the same observation that Thompson had made on that rooftop. Sometimes the best protection comes from the person you think isn't there, watching over everything from a position you never expected. Have you ever been underestimated when people needed you most, or made a split-second decision that saved someone's life? Share your story in the comments below.